All right, what's going on, Soul Care family? We are here with another episode here on the Soul Care podcast. I get the privilege to be the host of this particular episode. You guys have seen my face enough, so you already know who I am. But if you are a first-time listener, my name is Nigel. I'm one of the associate therapists here at Soul Care, and I have the privilege of also being the practicum program manager here at Soul Care as well. And with that privilege, I get to have a wonderful individual on the podcast today. She is one of our newest interns for this upcoming school year. Of course, you're going to get to know a bit about her, but we are so excited to have her a part of the team. She has been such a great addition so far. And she's only been here for like a couple of weeks, going on maybe like a month and a half or so. Intern, I mean, and I don't even mean to identify you as intern because I want you to use your name. But overall, tell us a bit about yourself. Tell us who you are, what shaped you, where you come from. The floor is absolutely yours.
Well, thank you for having me over here. My name is Sneha, and it's an absolute delight to be a part of Soul Care. A little about me, I have a multicultural background. I was born in the Emirates, lived there for like 8 years, then moved to India, lived there for a couple years, and then now I'm in Canada, and that's who I am. So growing up, you can see I have like three different cultures. It gives me a unique perspective on how my family culture and faith deeply shape me viewing people and who I am. That's just me.
Yeah, that's dope. You mentioned that you were born in the Emirates, and I actually didn't know that from the interview. So that's actually really cool. Have you been back since like being born and leaving? Have you been back?
I have been there once after I left, but ever since I've been traveling around the world, but not been back there yet.
Sure, God, travel around.
Yeah.
So guys, when I did the interview, one of the things that I really love is like she's an avid traveler. Like she's been places. Tell us, how many places have you traveled right now? What's the number? Yeah, putting you on the spot. What's the number?
I don't know. I would say I have traveled a lot of countries because my parents love traveling. So when we were in Dubai, vacation came, it's like book your flights. We are going to London or we are going to somewhere, like
Yeah.
anywhere, pick a place and we will just go. My last visit was Japan. So yeah,
So if you were to ballpark and say a number that you've, in terms of countries that you've been to, what would it be? What's a
I would
ballpark
say
number?
12, 14, somewhere around there.
Oh,
Yeah.
14. That's great. And I think for me, what I love is like it was on the other side of the world. So it's like the London, the Dubai, it's like all of that. And that's me. If you know me, like I love London. So that's really, really dope to hear. I love London. But yeah, that's great. So you definitely have that experience traveling and things like that. And I think that just really shapes who you are as an individual and who you are as a person. So here's a question for you. Could you tell us, the audience here, what's a personal experience or what influenced you to get into the mental health field? Tell us about that. It's been your journey.
So for me, like a lot of them don't know, but my actual background is in dentistry.
Wow.
And
Okay.
yeah, but I could not see myself doing that, especially, coming from
Mm-hmm.
like this strict educational family that,
Mm-hmm.
they have like this mindset. It's either nursing, business, or, going to being a doctor. It was
Mm-hmm.
hard to branch off into something else. And what really impacted me into choosing my undergrad, my behavioral science, was when I had somebody in my church pass away due to special
Mm-hmm.
need. He was a special need kid. And
Mm-hmm.
that stirred something deep in me. And I was like, I want to research more about this field. And when I looked into it, I was like, one, you work with kids, which I already had been working as a teacher in kids ministry for, I don't know, like 10 years now, 12
Mm-hmm.
years. So for me, it was like kids, special needs, something within this. And I was like, you know what? If this is God, let God be God and
Mm-hmm.
show me how I can go through it. And lo and behold, people were all around me helping me shape this, especially the community. This community is what has lifted me up, spoken to my parents, guided them, showed them, like, this is a field where she will be thriving, and I did. So that was the main reason why I got into mental health.
Gotcha. Wow, that's a great,
Hmm.
great story. And I think it's just so interesting, and not only like with you, but a lot of people that I've spoken to, that one of a little thread that kind of guides all these stories together, or brings them together, is just like that need to help people, that wanting to be able to be in a position where you can serve, the people around you, but also the larger community. And I think that always just speaks to the heart of, to be a therapist, you have to have a special heart, so to say. I think you definitely have to be, kind of like drawn to this field where, you enjoy journeying with people, you enjoy helping people, you can't help but see yourself with people, in community, and journeying and supporting them and just walking out life with them. I think
Hmm.
that's even like similar to my story, just like, being in those positions so often, but then feeling like, I didn't have the language for it. So I, went back to school and things like that. But just that being a part of your life journey, that, yeah, I've always been like journeying with people. I've always been, helping people. So I think that's, that's great. Definitely great. So that's, the professional side. Let's get to know you, the person. Talk to us about life outside of therapy. What brings you joy? What are some hobbies, music, family, whatever the case may be? What brings you joy? Yeah.
Yeah. So outside of therapy, I'm a very introverted person.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I love spending time with my family, with my husband. I love
Mm-hmm.
playing board games. I like to have people over, just playing, having the
Mm-hmm.
competitive spirit and
Mm-hmm.
bonding together. Eating, I love eating,
Okay.
but ever since I
Good.
got married and my husband is a chef, I
I
don't know
didn't
how
know
many
that.
times I have eaten outside. Yeah, don't
Yeah.
eat. Yeah, I would say stop eating outside. I would be like, okay, I want to eat this. I think I like how this looks on the internet. Can you make this? And he'll make it. And it's, of course, out of this world. Yeah. Worship music is something that keeps me grounded. You will
Okay.
not see any other playlist on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
It's always worship music. It's my time with God that leads me into going into my devotion.
Mm-hmm.
I also have like right now a song that is just on the loop for me that I keep listening to. So this is just
Mm-hmm.
me over here, very simple,
Yeah.
introverted, loves
Yeah.
playing games, spending time with family. That's me.
Gotcha. So are you with this little game business? Are you like very competitive, or is it just like just a passerby time kind of thing? How are you with
No,
games or
no, I want to
competitive?
win.
Yeah,
I'm in it to win
that's
it.
yeah, you're in it to win it. That's crazy. So your husband is a chef. So guys, I'm learning a lot about her as well. So like I didn't know this either. So your husband is a whole chef. This is crazy. So tell me, like, what's the vibe at home when it comes to like cooking dinner and things like, does he do all the cooking because he's a chef? And like, how are we experimenting with food? Like what's the vibe like?
So my husband does all the cooking. When I was growing up till I started dating him, the one prayer that I had that, every girl has that writing journal that how their husband
Hmm.
has to be.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
top
yeah.
was like, he needs to cook because I don't
Hmm.
like cooking.
Gotcha.
And that's a
Okay.
quality that, he has. And I'm like, thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
And so lunch, dinner, he loves cooking too. And he will not mind if he comes home at like 9 o'clock and he'll be like, I think I feel like having like this stir fried something, pork with something. And he'll be like, do you want some? I'm like, sure.
Never gonna
Yeah.
turn down food. Absolutely. Wow, that's really great. So does he like work at his own restaurant, or he works at a restaurant? What's his life there?
No, he works at a church. He's the technical director.
Okay. Oh
Yeah,
wow. That is so technical director and a chef. That's a crazy combination right there.
it
That's
is.
really cool. Okay. So you've traveled and you got a husband that cooks.
Yep.
You're living the life now. You're living the life. So shifting gears a little bit and talking about therapy and you as an individual, you as an intern, what inspired you to pursue counseling and therapy? So I know you shared about an experience you had growing up, but What was that, maybe that deciding factor to say like, yeah, I'm going into counseling therapy? Tell us about that.
Yeah, for me, I guess I was like in my second year of undergrad. It was peak COVID,
Mm,
and I was like seeing and just browsing and
mhm,
figuring things out, like where do I want to go in future.
mhm,
And once we were back in church, my spiritual mom asked me, like, what do you want to do? And I was still figuring things out. And then my pastor used to like just, be like, hey, I don't get to see that congregation too often. Why don't you come see me sometimes? And then, we can have like this one-on-one sessions together. And when I was just sitting with her and when I saw what counseling can bring out in people, like sometimes you don't even know things are there and you suddenly ask a question and all of a sudden there's this switch that flips in and it's like, oh my goodness, I didn't know that. And then you just start talking and then you start navigating situations in life. And I thought that that is something I really enjoy. That is something I like. I want
mhm,
to do that. And I think that was one of the driving factors to lead me into counseling. And another factor was like people around me when they saw me working with kids, interacting with them. Sometimes the young adults would just come up and just start talking to me and discuss about their life situations. And I would just listen to them. And then we would navigate. And they would be like, just going to counseling. And I'm like, okay,
yeah,
I will think about it. So, yeah, people person, definitely talking, listening,
yeah.
navigating, meeting people, halfway. That's just some qualities I figured out in me. And I was like, you know what? Counseling it is.
Yeah, I love that. And I think what I love there that you already kind of possessed some of the skills or tools that it takes to be a therapist in terms of like that active listening and being a people person or at least being personable and being able to support individuals in the present moment, being able to sit with them in what they're experiencing and what they're currently navigating and not necessarily having to have all the answers, but just holding space for them. That in and of itself is such a vital skill and vital tool in this field of just how to hold space for an individual, how to show up empathetically for an individual as they are navigating, as they are, going through a life experience, just being able to hold space and active listen active and
Mm-hmm.
practice active listening with them. I think is such an amazing skill. And it's great to hear that, before you were in it, you were already in it kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Before you were a therapist, you were doing therapeutic things. So it just speaks to like, your character and it just came naturally to you. And
Mm-hmm.
I think things that come naturally to people is something to pay attention to. Yeah, it's definitely something to pay attention to. So I love that. So, were there pivotal moments in your life that affirmed this call? So like a calling, in terms of into therapy. So I know you mentioned like you having conversations with individuals and they're, saying like, yeah, you should go into therapy. But was there like a specific person in your life that affirmed like, yeah, this is what you're supposed to be doing? Yeah.
Yeah, it's my spiritual mom. When I told her about it, we just prayed. Like I remember sitting in that office and
Yeah.
she holding my hand and she just prayed constantly. She was just like praying. And then all of a sudden she said, it clicks. It feels right. And
Yeah.
then it was my pastor, then she affirmed it that no, she likes the direction I'm going and she
Hmm.
would like to see me thrive in it. And my parents too, it was difficult for them to break out of that mentality of not just being a doctor or a nurse or a business person,
Yeah.
but now to
Yeah.
see you know their daughter doing something completely different, you know
Mm-hmm.
having a goal, having a direction that she wants to follow. And my parents were like, you're 100% behind it, which reaffirmed me because they prayed about it. We sat down, we prayed together.
Yeah.
I remember my dad going in for a fast and just trying to sit,
Yeah.
like, hear from the Lord and be like, let me know what is right and what is wrong. And he did
Mm-hmm.
not feel anything that was like, no. He just felt peace in his heart and being like, yes, if this is what you want, this is where you go.
Gotcha. Wow.
Yeah.
Here's what I was hearing you communicate, which I think is like a big life thing that like you had people, your peers that were affirming this for you, but you also had people over you. You had that almost maybe even use like that generational aspect or that generational community in terms of like having your parents, having your spiritual mother, having your pastor, three influential people, three influential positions of authority in your life that really just affirmed that calling, just really affirmed the decision and the position that you were in. And I think like that can be like a big takeaway for people that it's great. Have your peers, have your friends, that you can be vulnerable with, that you can walk out life with. But you need that oversight. You need people
Hmm.
to be able to look ahead and say, like, yeah, the path you're on is good. The path, the journey, the direction that you're heading, that you're going in is a good path, and be able to support you in that and affirm that, and I think it's just so sweet to hear, just like, everyone affirmed, but dad did something a bit different. Dad kind of
Yeah.
fasted and prayed and said like, yeah, this is good for my daughter to go on. So I think that's just amazing, amazing to hear. So we've talked about, who you are professionally, who you are as a person, as a human being, but why soul care? What made you come to soul care? What excites you about this faith-based, culturally grounded space that we, dedicate our time to in creating, that being soul care? Why us?
Well, two factors played an important role in my decision. One, it was
Yeah.
faith-based. Two,
Mm,
it's the community. For me, the people that poured in my life and
mm-hmm.
built me up, I cannot thank them enough in shaping who I am and what
Yeah.
I am today. And my only way to give back to this community is Soul Care. And when I saw this, I applied to different places, but this was my number one. Like, I did not have a plan B. If I did not get in Soul Care, I would apply next year. But that was my plan. So I prayed. I had my church family pray. My
Yeah.
my dad prayed, and we were like, we don't need plan B. God got us. And God did get it. And here I am, faith-based, the community I want to give back to.
Yeah.
That's why Soul Care. There was
Yeah.
no brainer behind it.
So guys, I'll let you in behind the scenes in terms of like, the interview process with Sneha. Wow. When we did it, like, I think it was maybe, let's say 10, 15 minutes in, me and the person I was doing the interview with, we had like a separate chat on the side, and we were like, yeah, she's it. Like this is the person, like we got to hire her and everything. But like, she did really well in the interview. But as you guys can see, like her heart behind it, she knew this is where she wanted to be, and there was no plan B. And she's not saying it for show or anything like that. Like, I remember her telling me, like, I got no plan B. This is it. This is soul care, and she was really on top of it. But I think that just really speaks to like, Soul Care as the company, the agency, that we create this space for not only interns, but for clients to, to feel seen, to feel heard, but knowing that like we have interns here that feel aligned with the vision, that feel aligned and called to this space, because realistically, soul care ain't for everybody. But this is just going to
Right.
be the hard truth. Soul care isn't for everybody. We have a standard, we have a way of how we show up in the community, and it isn't for everyone, but it's really great to hear that it's there for somebody. And I think that's what it's about. That even though soul care may not be for everyone, there are a specific, I'll use a church word, there's a remnant of people that soul care is dedicated to and is called to and is drawn to. And that is on every area, every aspect, whether it's, associate therapists, interns, clients, we're all in some way drawn to each other because of the standard and what we strive to offer, within the community, especially within the Black and faith-based community, that we want to be that gap. We want to fill that gap that's been present for such a long time. And it's not completely filled, but we're absolutely like taking a step in the right direction in ensuring that it can get filled as quickly as possible, as diligently as possible. Yeah, that's such amazing to hear. So tell the people, you're here, you're at Soul Care. What are the population? What's the demographic of people that you're interested in working with? What are some of the concerns or topics or conflicts that you're interested in supporting people with, navigating through with them? Tell us what's your niche? Who are you in this space? Yeah.
Well, throughout the podcast, you must have heard me. I'm an introvert, but when it comes to people, I will not shy with talking. So it's just
Yeah.
that's the way of approach that I take too. I'm a very eclectic approach. It's an eclectic approach. I do not
Hmm.
just stick to something. I like to branch out. What clients needs is what I will give. It's not the pace that I want to set. It's the pace that the clients walk in is the
Hmm.
it's the way I want to flow.
Hmm.
Demographic wise, I love working with individuals,
Hmm.
families,
Hmm.
kids, youths, young adults. I am pretty much open to everybody. Areas where they're just struggling with life transitions or they feel like an imposter and
Hmm.
they just want to talk about it. Especially in this day and age, imposter syndrome is very out there, and I would really love to help them navigate and find who they are. Other than that, I really like to use different kinds of approaches, different areas, which a client just walks in and be's like, you know what, I don't feel good today. I I
Hmm.
don't know. I don't want to talk. I might just be like, okay, maybe you might want to bring a pen and paper and just like scribble whatever you feel, and we can just
Yeah.
talk from there, you know? So I'm pretty open.
That's great. And I think, is being able to journey with different demographics. So knowing how to show up with adults, but also knowing how to show up with kids, knowing how to show up with teenagers and youth, and just knowing that at the end of the day, we're all humans. At the end of the day, we're all people with complex backgrounds and experiences. But if you can reach one, there's potential that you can reach as many as possible. And I think you just hold that unique experience in terms of like having that experience of working with kids and being able to be in that space. How are you with parents? What in you working with kids, you working with teenagers, because being in this space, there's when you're working with that demographic, you absolutely are also working with the parents in a certain degree as well. What's that like for you managing, parents' expectations, but also like the therapeutic expectations? How do we manage that? What does that look like for you?
Well, it's something called as parent coaching.
Mm,
So, along with not just the kids, but I also have to keep in mind that the parents are also navigating this, and this is new for them.
mhm,
So,
mhm,
what entails is that I'm not just working with kids, I'm working with the parents too. And when they have certain goals, I like to break it
mhm.
up for them, be like, okay, if this is a whole goal in mind, let's start somewhere to build it up. And where do you want to
Yeah,
start? So I give them options. And then I also prepare them with what entails through that walk through towards the goal. And sometimes it can be difficult, sometimes it can be super easy, but along that walk, I want to ensure that the parents are getting what they want, but also it's in the interest of the kid. So, yeah.
yeah, I love that. And I think, you're just speaking to the aspect that the family is the family and that we're not trying to break up the family or choose a specific side, but knowing that in this space, in terms of therapy, the interest of the child is always the priority and is always going to be at the forefront of every decision that you make, whether parents agree or disagree, and sometimes
Hmm.
we have to manage that, when the expectations we have for the client, versus the expectation we have for parents don't align, but knowing that somewhere there has to be some sort of middle ground and finding a way to get that is always key and always important. Yeah. Wow. Okay. What strengths do you bring as being a therapist? So I know you shared, active listening and being empathetic. But what would you say is like your little therapeutic superpower? What would be like that thing that everyone's gonna experience when they get into a session with you? What would you say?
I would say being heard,
Hmm.
because it doesn't matter how much a person wants to listen. It
Yeah.
can go in one ear, it can come out of one ear,
Yeah.
the other, right? But being heard and then acting on it, I think
Hmm.
that is something that I bring.
Yeah. I love that. Being heard. So you hear that, people. Every time you're in a session with her, you are going to feel heard. If there's one thing, you're going to feel heard. You're going to feel heard. All right. Let's shift gears a little bit. Let's get, the people get to know you on another level. I got some rapid fire questions for you. It's just about 4 or 5 questions, for them to get to know you, the person as well. All right. Here's question number 1. No thinking, rapid fire. Here we go. Coffee or tea? Ooh, what's your favorite tea?
I don't know. I would just drink any tea. I have a tea collection, so definitely
Okay.
tea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Introverted or extroverted?
introverted.
Introverted. One book, song, or movie that speaks to your journey. Yeah, I know. One book,
Okay,
song, or movie. Yeah.
I would say song, and I would say goodness of God.
Goodness of God. Okay. All right. Here's the last one. If you weren't a therapist, what would you be doing?
Whew. No, I'm maybe a teacher. Definitely.
What is one thing you're hoping for, you're just praying about when it comes to clients this year?
What I'm hoping and praying for is that this year feels that they will be seen, that
Mm,
it will be a safe environment for them. They feel supported.
mhm.
And as a therapist, I'm having a tongue slip right
No
now. The
worries.
most important thing I want to create is a space where people find their strength and
Mhm.
healing and hope in their own story.
I love that. Strength, healing, and hope in their own story. That is amazing. And before we wrap up, how can the listeners find you? Are you on social media at all?
Yes, I am.
Or you're on social media. All right. So please, listeners, find her on social media. You can find her through the Soul Care page. Make sure to follow us on Instagram. Make sure to follow our YouTube channel where this will be premiering in the upcoming week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully you guys have the opportunity to feel informed about Sneha and who she is professionally, but personally, and being like, oh, she's a really cool person. I want to get to know her. She absolutely is accepting clients, taking on clients. So feel free to book a consultation with her and to start your healing and journey and process with her. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope this helps. Love you. Peace.